Hey, this is Nick from T7 Training. I'm in Houston, Texas at the NASA Space Institute, and you can see behind me is one of the same rockets that they used to first launch a human into space from USA. Russia beat them by, I believe, a couple of months, and if you look right up the top there on this large rocket, just underneath that red thing just at the top, the sort of grey, dark grey area, that's the part that the person would sit in. Pretty amazing thing. It was launched in the early 60s. However, what I want to show you is in this building over here. And behind me is a Saturn V rocket that was the same that was used to send people to the moon in 1969 through to, I believe, 1972. So in the theme of that, today's T7 tip is going to be about removing space in Excel cells. So sometimes you might have, for example, look at that, isn't that amazing? This is a pretty incredible place to be. So sometimes in cells in Excel you might have extra spaces that you want to get rid of. Spaces before the text, spaces after the text. For example, sometimes people they type things into a cell and then hit the space bar before they press enter, which results in something different than just the actual contents of the cell. And when you're filtering and sorting, that means that the contents are different, and that can cause lots of problems. As well as that, you might have double spaces in between words instead of single spaces. If you want to get rid of all of those spaces, those problem spaces, what you need to do is use a formula called equals trim, open bracket, the cell that you want to remove the excess spaces from, close bracket. It's a very simple formula. So that will be a calculating formula, which means that when you are using it, it's going to update according to the cell you're referencing, but you can always paste values to make it actual data. It's great for getting rid of extra spaces from spreadsheets or databases that have become a bit messed up, especially exporting a database, and just terrific as an extra way to clean up your data. That's equals trim, open bracket, the cell that you're using, and then close bracket. I still haven't reached the end of this rocket yet, so I'm having to add extra time here. It's 109 meters tall. It's 3 stages. That first stage would take off, the second stage would then take off from that one. The third stage, which I'm just passing right now, would take off from that one, and then all the way down the end here, past the third stage is, I believe they call it the 4th stage, which would contain the actual lunar lander. Let's take the time, have a look inside. The lunar lander, which they don't have here because all the lunar landers were left on the moon. There's no reason to bring them back. So the lunar lander would be inside of here. And then here's that 4th stage I was talking about. Just there. Stages 3, 2 and 1 back there. And then they would return to Earth, the 3 people who travelled to the moon, in this bit just here. So you can see this one looks a bit dirty and used. That's because it is dirty and used. This is one of the ones that actually went to the moon, and then they came back in this to Earth, splashed down in the ocean, they recovered it, and here it is right here. There's a few of these dotted around America that you can see. So that's today's T7 tip. Equals trim, open bracket, cell, close bracket. I hope you find it useful, and I look forward to seeing you at next week's T7 tip.